Back to a Victory Monday presented by Chiniga Mayos. Join the mission at careerswithmios.com. Head now to the BetQL guest hotline. Say hello to Jonathan Allen. He's presented by Main Street Bank. Cheer local, bank local. Put their team in your office. Visit mstreetbank.com for more information. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Hey, not as good as you.
You strike me as a guy who does not get too high with the wins or too low with the losses, but that had to be a fun plane ride home from Denver last night after a big road win against the Broncos, right?
It was exciting, man. I just wish we didn't have to make it hard on ourselves, but I mean, definitely a new era, man. It was definitely good to go out there and be able to come back after playing so poorly defensively in the first quarter and tighten things up and give our team a chance to win, and we were able to do that. So, I mean, hats off to our offense, man. They played a great game. Guys made big plays when they needed to, and it was just a great team victory.
John, I heard Jamar Davis in a post-game interview say, I think it was Jamar, that we knew we were good. We knew we just had to make some corrections, right? We were given the corrections, and then we just executed them. What were the corrections? What did the coaches say? Hey, you got to do X, Y, and Z here. This is what they're doing. This is what we got to do.
Most of it was just gifts. At first, obviously, you want to give them credit. They made some great plays, but it was blown coverages, not gap sound, communication errors. So little things like that, little things that you can fix easily. So on the sideline, nobody was screaming at each other. Nobody was defeated. We're like, hey, let's just calm down, slow down. It's an 18-point game. There's a lot of game left, and let's do it one play at a time. And then our offense went together and scored that 8 points and made it a 10-point game. And then we were able to get another stop and then the kick a field goal going in a half down 7. Like, oh, we're good.
Right.
John, when you say communication errors, is that because you're just in a hostile road stadium and it's too loud? Explain that.
I mean, it could be a lot of things, from trying to get the call from the coach to the linebacker, and then the linebacker to the D-line, and the linebacker to the DBs. Like, there's just a lot of channels of communication, and sometimes they can just get lost. They might go speedball, so you don't have time to communicate like you normally do. It's loud. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that can affect the communication. So, like I said, we were able to overcome it, and it felt good to come out there with a victory.
Did they do anything that surprised you?
I want to say they did a lot of things that surprised us. They're a well-coached team. Sean Payton's probably a future Hall of Fame coach. For us, is a future Hall of Fame quarterback. You knew they were going to take shots. They talked about it all week, and they were very surgical when they took those shots. And
did we just lose John Allen?
So you have none to expect,
Right.
There he is. What was it like to play with Chase Young back on the defensive line? He clearly was impactful.
Felt great. I mean, whenever you have a player of Chase's caliber back on the field, I mean, it can do nothing but help your team. Mm-hmm. So it felt great. I loved it, and I'm looking forward to having a fun season with him.
Right. Is this the most complete team you've been a part of in terms of offense, defense, special teams? Special teams struggling a little bit, but in terms of offense and defense, I can't remember a team this complete.
Yeah, no, this is by far the most complete team I've ever had. So, man, we have a lot of potential, but we're looking forward to just continue this going. And it's going to be a fun season.
When it's 21-3, and the play which turned the game around was the Jamar Davis fumble, I just want you to take us through that play. What did you see?
Man, I'm running to the ball trying to get Russ down, and just Jamar come out of nowhere. He's been a guy who's been playing super, super well for us, and I'm happy for him, man. Obviously, his first couple years probably wasn't to his standard. And, he received a lot of flack, but I'm really glad he came out here. He's starting this season out strong, and, man, he looks incredible.
What's the difference for him? Is it just that he understands the concepts better because he seems to be playing faster?
Well, I mean, you got to think, he only started 1 year in college. So, he didn't have a lot of games under his belt in college. And then to go into the NFL and make that big of a jump, that's hard to do. You know what I mean? That's really hard to do. So I think he's just comfortable with the scheme. He's comfortable with his ability. And you can just see him not thinking much and just playing fast. And when he's playing fast, I mean, he's a freak athlete.
John, sacks are obviously the glamour stat for defensive players, but I'm looking at your guys' quarterback hits yesterday. 14 of them. That's a lot. That's 6 more than Denver had on Sam Howell. Is that hard for you guys? Like when the quarterback releases the ball, are you guys hesitant at all to hit him? Because we know how they protect quarterbacks in the NFL at this point. What's that like when you know you want to get a quarterback hit? I'm sure your coaches are stressing it, but in the back of your mind, like, you don't want to see that yellow flag come out either.
You just got to be smart. The rule change to protect the quarterback has been in place for a while, so what it really comes down to, you just can't be egregious. You know, if it's within the realms of I'm just playing football hard, more than likely they won't call anything. But once you start getting to the point where, like, all right, we're egregiously, like, going after you, that's when it gets a little ticky-tack. And the thing that's really hard, like on Jamin's play, when you're playing football but you accidentally touch his head, that's when it's like it's tough because you're playing full speed. You got big guys trying to push you, pull you down, and that's when it gets a little tricky. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to kind of get a gauge for it and on how the refs are going to call the game, and just try your best to stay within the boundaries.
Can you describe what you saw, or what, you know, the 3-play sequence where Duran just went off? I mean, just dominated sort of single-handedly. I'm sure you guys all contributed to that, but can you kind of explain that sequence and how he was able to just have those 3 plays in a row?
Yeah, I mean, the first play, he just crushed the tackle, beat him on the inside move. Mm-hmm. The next play, I haven't watched the film yet, but the next play, from what he told me, just swam the guard inside. And then the next play, hey, got in the pass lane again and was able to bat the ball. So, I mean, that's why you pay him the money you do, for him to make plays like that.
So it's a different team. We acknowledge you guys have a lot of good players. You're off to a 2-0 start, first time in 13 years. Your next opponent is the Buffalo Bills. I was just looking at the history, and you can talk about what it's like going up against Josh Allen. You played him in 2019. He didn't have particularly a big day, but they beat you. And then you played him in 2021. He had 4 touchdown passes. What's it like going up against John Allen? Going up against quarterback, Josh Allen?
Well, you know, he's going to be such a threat with his legs. You know he's going to run the ball. And unlike most quarterbacks, he's probably not going to slide at the sign of first contact. So we really need to rally to the ball. On top of that, he's got Stephon Diggs, a bunch of other great weapons, and he's going to try to go deep. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a challenge for us. But I'm looking forward to the opportunity, man. It's going to be a fun game. I expect that stadium to be rocking, and I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. It's a good test for us.
Can you give us an idea, because we're still learning all these guys, Forbes' personality? Seems like a great kid, obviously. But, like, when Hal makes a mistake, we can all see this kid's unflappable, right? He doesn't seem to be like, he's not into the glory. He's not into social media. He just wants to come out and play. And then Forbes, you know, DB's a little bit flashier position, so he gets burned early or whatever. And then he comes back and makes a couple big plays. What's his demeanor like? What's his personality like?
You know, Forbes' demeanor, man, you would think he's been in the league for like 5-6 years, man. He's just such a level-headed, just calm, just ball player, man. I love it. He fits so well with his defense. And, I mean, like you said, he's not fazed by making mistakes. When you play cornerback, it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So for him to be able to, you know, give up a play and then come back and really make a crucial play for us tells you everything you need to know about him.
Hey, what was your view on the Hail Mary pass?
I was so tired and I didn't even know what to think at that point. I didn't even know what to think at that point.
Were you in on that play?
I was in on that play.
Did you rush after Russ hard? So you're saying you were tired?
Oh, well, I mean, game's on the line, of course. I mean, Russ has been known to always have a great deep ball, and the way the ball bounced, they just got lucky, I guess. I really don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a moon ball. It was batted like 3 times.
Forbes was the first guy in line, and Forbes had the best shot to just knock it down, but it went right through his hands, and then it hit whoever was behind him, hit his like shoulder pad and popped right up.
Yeah, man, it was an unfortunate play for us, but luckily, you know, we made a great play on the 2-point conversion and did not have to go to overtime.
You know, a lot of people are like, oh, it was interference or whatever on the 2-point. And I'm like, fine, maybe it was. But I don't care what anybody says. Hail Marys are flukes.
Absolutely.
So I was fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, I was fine with it. I don't care if we just completely tackled the guy. If we're going to get away with it, let's take the dub.
And look, the reality is the defense forced Denver into a field goal after they had 1st and goal on the previous drive. Which you know that Denver would have much preferred scoring a touchdown, and then if they got the ball back just needing a field goal, they had to settle for a field goal because you guys made a big defensive stop.
Yeah. I mean, look, defense, we really made the adjustment we needed to. In the first half and second half, you know, we really got things rolling. Moving forward, you definitely don't want to put yourself in that position, and you want to come out rolling. But, hey, at the end of the day, we got the win. That's all that matters.
Talk about just want to get your perspective on how, as you're seeing him grow every week here.
Man, I'm excited. I know he got a lot of flack for last game for whatever reason. And just his preparation this week, man, he was just unfazed by it. He has the utmost confidence, and when your quarterback, when your leader shows utmost confidence in his ability in the team, it goes to everybody else. So, I mean, everybody in the team was feeling confident about not only him but our offense and what we could do, and I think it showed this game.
Which throw impressed you the most? All right, he had a couple of really A-plus throws. Obviously, a touchdown to Terry McLaurin, but he had a great ball down the sideline to Bates. Zipped one into Logan Thomas, which I don't know how Logan held on to the ball. What impressed you the most as just a fan? Because when you're on the sideline, you're kind of just a fan.
I'll probably say the throw to Logan Thomas on fourth down at that point in the game. That was a gutsy throw, a good throw, and all credit to Logan, man. I don't know how he held on to the ball either.
What were you thinking when Ron decided to kick a 59-yarder? I know that Joey can kick them from 70 out in that altitude, but were you thinking, hey, we should probably punt here, pin him back, we got a great defense? What were you thinking?
Well, anytime you have an opportunity to get points, I say you go for it. And with our defense, I loved it because it showed he had faith in our defense.
Oh, he definitely showed that.
I love the call.
Yeah, he definitely showed that.
Getting back to Chase, and I know you're high on him and you see him every day, but just the fans probably didn't expect much because we just hadn't seen him, and he hadn't put up numbers since his rookie year, really. But he was a huge factor yesterday, and that's what the fans want to see. I mean, he looked strong and fast, and he had the sack and a half, plus he had a bunch of pressures. So he was just a difference maker. He was one of the defensive difference makers yesterday. I'm just wondering what you saw from him.
Man, Chase looked incredible. Like, I don't remember the last time we talked, I told you, Chase is motivated. I haven't seen him motivate like this in a long time. So what I've seen from him is really what I've seen all year. I mean, I'm glad he had the success, but I'm not surprised at all. There's nothing he did out there that I was like, oh, my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. So, I mean, obviously – not obviously. This is something that I'm going to expect every game. Obviously, you can't predict how many sacks or however many, whatever you're going to call. But the way he looked today, I mean, that's just normal Chase. That's what I've seen every day and in practice for the last 2-3 months. So, I mean, no surprise here.
Talking to Jonathan Allen, Pro Bowl defensive tackle for the Washington Commanders, who are off to a 2-0 start. A lot of it was made about the altitude. Just give us your perspective. And did you drink any beet juice going in?
How gross is that?
Yeah, the beet juice is pretty trash, but you got to get the powder. It's a lot better in the powder.
So you did drink it?
Yeah. The altitude definitely plays a factor. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, we're professional athletes. So, I mean, hydrate, take care of your body, and do what you got to do to make sure you have as much oxygen and air as you can, and go out there and play football for 60 minutes. That's all you can do.
I'm just curious. So when you play a game at 4:25, there's 8 or 9 games before you, and I know you're getting ready for the game and everything, but do you guys monitor the other games? Do you have Red Zone on in the locker room during your downtime? Do you watch them at all?
Yeah. I mean, when I'm in there, I have, like, YouTube TV up, and I'm just kind of scrolling through, checking on the games, checking on certain guys around the league, that I play college ball with, just see how they're doing. I mean, we're all fans of football, so whenever football's on and you have time to watch it, you're going to briefly turn it on and just, watch it.
Who are your main guys back from Alabama?
Oh, man, most of the D-line guys, Dalvin Tomlinson, Ashawn, Jay Reed. So I just like to watch some of those guys, and a lot of the other good D tackles around the league. Like to see how they're doing, like to see how the games are going. Obviously, I'm very interested in Bijan Robinson from Atlanta. He's an exciting guy to watch. So, watch his game for a little bit. Watch the Chiefs game versus the Jags. Yeah, man, just a big fan of football.
John, who were the offensive studs on Bama when you were there? Refresh us. Man, I'm sure there's just a list of them.
So me and Derrick Henry were in the same class. So Derrick Henry was a big one. Amari Cooper was there for a lot of my time at Bama. Calvin Ridley was also there for a lot of time. Irv Smith, he was there. Or Darius Stewart.
Who were your quarterbacks?
So my my freshman year was A.J. McCarron.
Right.
My sophomore year it was Blake Sims. My junior year, the year we won, was Jay Coker, and then my senior year was Jalen Hurts.
Hey,
They'll take any of those guys
was
now.
Kamara there too? And he's just like, I can't crack this lineup. I got to transfer to Tennessee. Was he there too?
So it's funny. Me and Alvin were all in the same class, and he was actually starting over Derek his freshman year. But then he had like a torn meniscus, and then that put him out. And when he came back, he was like third or fourth on the depth chart. And then after that, the relationship kind of dissolved, and he ended up transferring. But when we first got there, Alvin Kamara was the guy. He was clear. He was the one we were all looking at like, wow, he might be the best one here.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it was kind of embarrassing. I don't know how much you watched it, but it was embarrassing. They had 3 points in the third quarter against South Florida.
Yeah, I've seen them.
And they can't figure out what to do at quarterback.
Yeah, just run a single wing at this point.
Do you want to see Milroe just stay in there? He's the most athletic.
Put Milroe in there and run the triple option.
Right. Well, that's might be what Saban does.
John, get rested. Big game this week. Suddenly now I feel like, I know you don't feel this way, I feel like you guys are free rolling, man. You're 2-0, best start in 12 years here in D.C. I mean, why not? Why not the Bills next?
Exactly, man. No one here is satisfied, and why not us?
Yep.
So,
Yep. All right.
We're gonna keep working, and see what happens.
It's Jonathan Allen, presented by Main Street Bank. Cheer local, bank local. Put their team in your office. Visit mstreetbank.com for more information. We'll talk to you next week, John.
Thank you, buddy.
I appreciate it.
See you, man.
All right, man.